Welcome to the GK Big Earnings Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show for you today. We got a little sweet little 16 to start off the show. Chuck Berry, one of a kind, because we're rocking and rolling at earnings today. So we've got our whole team ready. Let me get this down here. We've got our team here ready today. Ayal Smilovich here to my right or left, depending on which way you're looking at him. And then we have Hatem Dihab also helping out with earnings today. And then, of course, my young prodigy over here, Brett Sifling. So we've got a great team. We just got off our trading desks. It was a very active morning. A lot of news coming out, starting obviously with coronavirus surging, causing the stay-at-home names. And then we just got breaking news that Netflix is raising prices to jump $20 during trading. Smart move for Netflix. Nobody can give it up right before a COVID winter. So Netflix is in play over $500 a share. We expect all the stay-at-home and tech names to do very well over the next several months. So the stock market is really going to break into two sections, the crappy section and the good section. And so if you own the market as a whole, you'll probably underperform by a substantial amount than if you own individual stocks, especially in technology. Our outperformance has largely been led by technology stocks. So what's going to happen is
we got Amazon.
Okay, we got Amazon. So as earnings come out, we're going to go into it. What do we got for Amazon, Hatem?
The reported quarterly earnings of, you got it, Ayal? 12.
I don't have it on mine. You got it over there?
12.37 per share, beat consensus by 741. So 67% growth.
67%. I mean, is that bad or good? What are we seeing?
Great. Great.
It's good. Okay.
Quarterly revenues are 69 billion. I mean, 96 billion. Sorry.
That's 69 billion. That just comes out of your mouth accidentally. I mean, what's going on over there, Hatem?
Consensus is 92, man. The numbers are so big, dude.
They're so big, you don't know what to do. 96 billion in earnings. So I see it up, what, $48 after hours?
We got Google numbers too. So
who just came out? What do you got, Al?
Google, Alphabet. We got Alphabet earnings.
We don't call it Alphabet here. Okay, we do not call it Alphabet. Okay, write it down, Al. This is Google. It's Google. It'll always be Google.
I have a bunch of clients who work at YouTube. They'll be sad.
Listen, YouTube is YouTube. YouTube is like a standalone company in my mind. It's better than Google.
So Google does $16.40 a share. Revenues 46.2 billion. Great operating margins.
I don't care about the numbers. What it clicks up or down. I mean, is ad rev up or down?
Tech acquisition costs are up. YouTube
I'm taking a look at these numbers, but I see it up after hours.
YouTube ad revenue at $5 billion. The expectation was a 4.5. So YouTube.
Okay, so ad revenue beat expectation. That's good news for Google. That's good news for Google.
That's a big jump for YouTube revenue. Google search.
What was YouTube's revenue?
$5 billion.
And that's up how much?
That's up. It doesn't. Let's see. 1 second. YouTube ad revenue.
I mean, YouTube's got to be a huge driver for Google right now. YouTube's killing it on all fronts. Everybody's on YouTube half the day.
Kids only watch YouTube. They don't watch TV.
You're telling me I got one, and my wife was literally fighting with them.
We watch streams. It is what it is. I mean, that's our TV. So now with smart TVs, you can actually put it on the TV. And
we're on YouTube right now. I mean, if you're not on YouTube, you're nobody. YouTube is better than any channel, right? So they did $5 billion, so 20 billion run rate.
Yeah, the estimates for earnings on Google was 11.21, and they did 16.4.
Oh, so they killed it.
What do you think about Apple trying to go into their arena?
Wait, let's get to that in a second. Wait, hold on. So what do you got after hours with Google going on here? Because I don't want to squint the whole time.
Yeah, the stock is up after hours. Hang on, I'm gonna get you the. It's up. I see
it up on our screen, but I don't know. We have humans. We have humans doing stuff.
Hang on.
All right. You come back to us when you find after hours.
I'll get you everything.
So the Apple
up $180, up 12% after hours.
Google is?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew it. You know how I knew they'd kill it? Because I trimmed some of my Google in the last.
I warned you not to do that.
No. I do that on purpose for the benefit of everybody. So whatever I trim a little of, I know is going to have great earnings report. But see, I don't sell it all. That would be stupid. And so Google, nice report, nice move after hours. Ad coming back. And to Google's credit, if you're a business and you need to deal with an online world and you used to be a physical world, you need to get into YouTube videos and online ads. And that definitely bodes well. So even though overall ad revenue in a way was at risk, the ad revenue shifts more towards digital, as digital sales is where everything's going. And if you're not making YouTube videos and you're a company, like, you're not going to make it. You know what I mean?
It's hard to argue a more digital.
So go into what Apple said today.
So Apple said yesterday that they're going to directly take on basically Google with their own search engine. So I think that some of it has to do with the.
But can Apple make a search engine? They can't make a map. I don't know. Why would they make a search engine?
Apple,
what the hell is Apple doing? Tim, you
cannot spending money.
Do you think that's a move?
You got John Stewart though.
Do you think that's a move because of antitrust though? Because of the case that DOJ brought up this week?
Well, that helps Google, right? So if they say, look,
they're trying to say they're trying to.
So they're probably colluding to help each other with their cases.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. So Google can now argue, look, Apple's getting in our business, and Apple can argue Google's already in our business. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's what do they call it? Oligopoly, when you have like 5 companies that control the world. We're starting to look like South Korea. You know what I mean? Yeah. What other things are reporting? We get any other reports out yet, guys?
Nothing yet as far as that, but I do want to say
starting with 2 for 2 here. We're long Amazon, we're long Google. They're top positions at our firm. I think Amazon's number 5 or 6, and Google's number 11 or 12. So that's a good start to our afternoon, right?
Great start for Google, especially.
Yeah.
I was worried about ad revenue.
Me too.
but what it's proving it is advertisers are coming back.
Hey, they were down last quarter. They were down last quarter.
We got some stuff on Facebook if you want to go.
What do we got on evil Facebook? The devil company. We're not long Facebook there.
Yeah.
I think there's some shares in our firm. Who has the Facebook in our firm that they're not supposed to have?
We have some clients on Facebook.
I'm gonna start searching for who's hiding these Facebook shares at our firm, because I found it on our 13F and I was like, wait, we own Facebook? Oh, Facebook's up 5% after hours now too?
Or
2.7 in earnings versus 1.9 estimated. Daily active users up to 1.82 billion. MAUs up to 274. I mean, my God, how many more people could be on Facebook?
So they have 2.74 billion people use it every month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's like the entire world's on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
I think Instagram that's driving this for them. It's definitely not Facebook in my mind. I mean, I don't know. What do you see?
Up 12% year over year. So, I mean, to me, honestly, like, I've been on Facebook more because there's just nothing else to do.
Facebook or Instagram?
I don't really use Instagram. In fact, I'm going to date myself here.
Oh, okay, Boomer. I'm going to Boomer. Boomers are on Facebook.
Brett, how do I send a direct message? Tell me. I don't understand.
Mia's going to show you how to do a direct message right there.
She's helped me a lot. She's helped me a lot when it comes to that.
Yeah. Listen, if you're using Facebook, I mean, God, you're a boomer. But like, I kind of felt like people are starting to shift away from Facebook, but that's clearly not happening from an advertising perspective. And they're certainly still monetizing like a gold mine.
They just did a pretty decent like user experience upgrade too, and it like kind of confused me. Like there's so much going on the screen when you like log into Facebook. Now it looks completely different.
I haven't used it, but what my wife was telling me with Instagram Shops was that it's a mess. Like they've really also screwed up.
A couple weeks ago, they changed on Instagram where you used to be able to just post like and see like what your interactions were. They changed that spot on the phone to where you buy stuff now. So where you like mentally go to like check
The
if you got
social
likes or
dilemma,
something?
just like the Pavlovian
So they
dog,
changed
you know?
it, yeah.
They've
So
turned
now-
us into Pavlovian
So
dogs.
now every time I think I'm checking like, oh, who liked my photo, it pops up with like 6 different products of people that I follow that I'm trying to not buy.
Unbelievable. So
Yeah.
so what? We got everything up 5% after hours right now?
We got Activision down.
Got
Activision is down.
Go
I'm
ahead.
getting a Tesla quote for some reason. I don't know why.
Someone asked us if we like Neo long term, but we can get that later.
Oh, some Rolling Stones. What's wrong with Activision? IBD said it's at a buy point.
We got 40 cents adjusted.
Like I haven't spent enough money on Call of Duty. It didn't help. I'm like Dave Portnoy gambling on my own stock. I'm like spending a fortune on Call of Duty.
78 cents adjusted, 1.95 billion in revenue for the quarter. That's pretty good. I can't tell what's actually happening here.
Yeah, I mean, I only see it down a little bit after hours, so it's one of those BS quotes that doesn't mean anything.
I'm looking for MAUs here also, but I'm trying to find it, but I don't see it.
Yeah, when you see these small moves after hours, they really mean nothing.
111 million MAUs for the third quarter.
How much?
111 million MAUs.
God,
Wow. 100 million people playing a game.
I mean, who's Activision is going to be an
Who
amazing.
doesn't play Call of Duty? My wife.
Lockdown continuing for longer now. We got new consoles coming. We got the holiday shopping season coming. I mean, video games. How do you sell a video game stock here, knowing that 2 brand new consoles are coming out?
And knowing that the last super cycle.
If you sell your video game stock, you'll be playing the Blues.
We'll buy it from.
You'll be playing the Blues for sure.
I believe during
Robert
the last
Johnson.
super cycle for both consoles, a basket of video game stocks returned around like 45% compared to the S&P. Some good.
This song is called Phonograph Blues. It's about the end of records. And let me tell you, these video games are like the end of linear TV between gaming and Netflix and when you think about gaming from a monthly active user perspective, that's like a whole different way of thinking about gaming versus just sales,
Yeah. And Fortnite's going to change that, really.
For sure.
They're the ones who absolutely change that.
What else do we got?
I'm looking at Tim. Did you happen to see AWS numbers? I'm looking for them.
No,
Yeah.
Hey, did they come out with Prime numbers or like how much they're expected to make?
They didn't say anything. They usually don't say it. They usually don't talk
We
about
haven't had a conference call. We haven't had a conference call, and I don't know if they've read through any of the transcripts.
They haven't said it, and they usually don't break that out. But Brett and I were doing a little fun activity before this started, and the projection was for them to do 10 billion in revenue over those 2 days. So for whoever's keeping track, that means that Amazon did almost 3.5 million in sales per minute during that
Per minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
If they met the expectation.
Like Amazon, it's just a crazy company when you think about its scope and size and ability. Like sometimes for fun, I'll order 3 items of the most absurdly opposite need. And they all come in a day. And it's like, how do they do that? Yeah. How can they send me like a toilet bowl and a guitar pick and like a gaming headset and it all comes? Like they're like completely different items. Like, can you imagine this factory that has a toilet bowl, a gaming headset, and a bunch of guitar picks all somehow close to each other? How do they do this?
Well, they said that the fastest delivery was in like 30 minutes or something on Prime.
Dude, they're now going to 2-hour delivery.
Yeah.
Like there's companies going, and I go, what could you like?
You're like sitting there waiting.
It takes an hour just to get a pizza, but it would only take 2 hours to get a toilet seat. Like,
they invested so much in infrastructure for next day delivery last year, which ended up costing them a lot. I remember as I was running through the earning reports over the last several quarters, they pulled a lot of that. It just so happened that this year, obviously, COVID hit and accelerated all that. But the investment that they put in infrastructure and logistics last year cost them almost $1 billion, I think it was.
Yeah, last year. Yeah, they went all in. I think it was last Christmas.
Yeah, and it's been amazing. And obviously,
of course, they knew COVID was coming, so they're like, well, we'll speed up our delivery process.
That now actually Amazon and Netflix are behind it. Are behind the COVID.
It's on fire. It's on fire. Yeah. It's fire. So is Activision still down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got something I can buy tomorrow. You know, I mean, what do you got on Activision now?
I don't see why it's
That fire on everything but Activision.
yeah. I don't understand why it's down.
Down almost 8% now.
Oh my God! Oh,
It's down 8%.
8%. Come on, it's Call of Duty.
It's also early.
Call of Duty comes out on the 13th, too. That's in a couple of weeks.
Somehow they already got me to spend $80 on it or $70 or whatever. They raised the price of the game. So I don't know if that quote's right. But I'm looking at what is it down $4 or $5 now?
Yeah, it's down.
I think that they lowered their guidance for Q4 from $1.09 to 63 cents, which is maybe what it sounded like.
They lowered guidance.
Is that right?
Why would they lower guidance?
That's what I'm thinking.
Activision Q4 adjusted of 63 cents versus so that's probably what it is. But I don't know what the expectation is.
I mean, if they lowered guidance for like Christmas, I mean that's just setting up for like a huge beat in my mind. Like everybody like beats and lowers. It's like you got to beat and lower, and it's
I read something funny today before this was so Activision has beaten their earnings 88% of the time, of course, because it's their own earnings, and Facebook has literally not missed earnings in over, I think, in like 12 quarters or something.
Honestly, if I was a public company, I would beat earnings 100% of the time. 100%, I would beat
What
it.
a setback.
I would make my earnings beat by exactly 15% every time, because it's like if you can't forecast 3 months into advance, like I can tell you what our gross is going to be over the next 3 months. Like, give or take a few bucks. So I just take that and minus 20%, and that's my estimate, right? And I beat it, and I beat it, and I beat it. And you know who does that? Mr. Tim Cook, who we're waiting for today. Now, who wants to bet they beat earnings today?
Well, supposedly the analyst
will beat earnings.
My new outcome comes today.
No, that's why. That's why.
Single-handedly supporting.
In this office, we single-handedly support Tesla and Apple, the two companies that have gained the most wealth for us and our clients. But we certainly have given a lot back. So Activision is our dog. We got Amazon and Google on the win streak. Let's put this up on the board. Mia, maybe you want to put up a board. We got 2 winners. We got Activision as our first loser for earnings for today. Activision is also a top 10 holding of ours. But, of course, I will be buying on any weakness because over the long term, we all know where video games are going. And they're going up because it's fire.
Yeah, we're waiting for Apple. But Apple,
if you have any questions too, throw them in, and then we'll get to them at the end.
There we go. There's the fire. So we're going to do a quick commercial break. You're watching GK Television. You can follow us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And, of course, we're talking about stocks, and there's risk involved. So please consult a financial advisor such as ourselves. We are what we consider very good at what we do. So we do recommend us. If you are watching and you have financial questions, I must say, giving us a call is probably the smartest thing you could do. Granted, I'm highly biased. It's me. But that being said, please, be careful with your investments. We are somewhat bearish on the markets as a whole right now. We are not bulls. So although we are heavily invested in the stock market, we have our lowest allocation we've had in the last decade right now. But we're heavily invested in technology and the allocation that we do have. And so we've benefited greatly from the rise of technology stocks. So if you're looking to get help with your finances, GK is the place to be. If you're not using a financial advisor, anything you do is at your own risk and responsibility. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. And we were going to continue until Apple reports earnings. They're always last. Apple has this like ego complex where it's like they have to wait till 30 minutes after. They want to Amazon
Tim is consistent.
Yeah, Tim's got to let all the Amazons get their stuff out. He's
Amazon's down after hours, by the way.
What?
Amazon is now down after hours.
Amazon's down now. That must be the conference call where he's now talking down his earnings.
I think it would be consistent with what we saw with Microsoft yesterday, which is these tech companies went up like crazy. I mean, everyone expected them to beat big, even though the numbers were lower. But Amazon's up 75% year to date. So I don't think it's weird that it would retract a little bit. We're kind of seeing this.
Well, Amazon's been solid at about 125 times earnings for a while. So I don't think it's like crazily valued.
No, and
that is for a 125 times earnings stock.
I mean, it's always been about free cash flow for them.
What are earnings, Ross? We don't talk.
Earnings are something we care about actually here at Gerber Kawasaki. Although many companies don't feel earnings are necessary, we kind of like them. I also like dividends. That's the old-fashioned concept of getting actually paid for your stocks.
One of our dividend stocks this week or split.
Yeah, we got a stock split with NextEra Energy this week. That was exciting. Another dividend stock we own. It's been a super winner, and
now one of the biggest energy companies in the world, bigger than Chevron.
Yeah, it's the biggest company, isn't it?
Biggest company in there, yeah.
Yeah, now Tesla's bigger than Exxon, and now NextEra is bigger than Exxon, and Exxon's on its way to the garbage bin, and I'm thrilled about it. What do we got now on after hours quotes with Amazon and with Google?
So Amazon
is still up 10%. It's the one stock that hasn't really done well, not well, but did not.
I just wonder about the people who don't own Amazon. Like, I just skipped it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Google is still up 10%.
Google's up. Do you have it up 10? I have it up 6.
Yeah. I have it at 1648 right now.
Yeah. Oh, so you have 6% up after hours, 10% up.
I have Google up 86 after hours.
Yeah. So I have up 92, but it was also up 46.
And I have Amazon now down 56.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it reversed.
It's not different. Shopify reported this morning, blew out earnings.
Yeah, Shopify blew out numbers and went down because
these stocks have gone up like crazy.
Yeah, it's 790 times earnings. So it's like once you have earnings, you start to look at those PE ratios and be like,
Twitter came out and is down.
Oh, what's Twitter doing?
Twitter had the smallest daily active user growth since 2017.
Well, I was wrong on that one. I thought Twitter would blow numbers out.
Twitter was going to go.
Jack, that's a fail after Snapchat, Jack. Really disappointing. Not that we're wrong Twitter, but
well, he looks like a bum on one.
Yeah, you come out on Congress, you look like a bum, and then you report crap earnings. Come on, Jack.
His Q3 average daily active users were 187 million versus 145 million.
You know what it is? He's not letting the Russian bots sign up.
They've deleted a lot.
Yeah, that's
of
what it is.
Twitter.
That's what it is. If you're going to run a clean service, you're not going to grow because 80% of Twitter is just bots.
Yeah, thanks, Facebook.
Yeah, I mean that's a big miss for Twitter. I'm shocked.
47 bucks down from 52 after hours. Granted, it was up.
No, it rallied $4 or $5 today, so it's not like
gave up everything that it made today.
But it's more just that's disappointing. Like if anybody's going to be on Twitter, it's now. And it's we gotta come up with a song for Twitter.
Versus Snapchat.
You know what I got right now is I got Alabama Shakes. I got Miss You from Alabama Shakes. And I miss you, Jack, because you missed us with this earnings. It really crappy earnings. So we don't own Twitter. It's not a big position. But just considering the growth that Snap had, you would think Twitter would be growing even faster. So
that's why they constantly disappoint over and over and over again.
You know what it is? I'll tell you the truth. It's got to be the bots. If you limit the bots, you limit the election interference. There's a lot less people on Twitter than you really would think,
So it said Jack looking to become the next McAfee lookalike.
He is and then McAfee went public or something. Like who's buying?
Yeah.
You remember that
again? Well, who buys McAfee? That was like a security service from like the 80s. Like when you used to buy a Microsoft. Like when I was a kid, it had McAfee on it. And it was like. I mean, are you using McAfee? Is that a company?
I didn't realize Twitter went public almost exactly 7 years ago, and the stock closed day one at $50. It is now below that still.
What a dog. Jack, you're a dog. You look like a dog. It's unbelievable.
Jack is
Square.
He's a square, too. He's a square dog.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken by this. I'm heartbroken. It's good.
They've been on a good run all year, though.
This is like
all year, but the stock has done zero in 7 years.
it's well either as Snap.
Yeah, it's the same
Snap,
IPO
and they
price.
still didn't make money. They still didn't make money. And my friend, I have a friend at Snapchat, and I was like, congratulations on your earnings. Oh, I'm sorry, on your revenue growth, because Snapchat doesn't believe in earnings. You know what I mean? But Twitter, I mean, I think it's just if you cut out the manipulation, you get a lot less activity, right?
Listen, Jack cares about Square. That's what his most of net worth is.
Get out.
No, come on.
Get out. He needs to become a chairman of the board.
Him in front of Congress. He had to leave his hole in the San Francisco gutter and come all the way to Congress. You know,
I mean, he already has like a.
He probably had to put on clothes for the first time in 3 months. You know, like show up to Congress and go like, "Oh, he didn't go. He didn't go. He probably zoomed. You know, he like zoomed in. What a joke."
He have a hands-off approach with Twitter, though, as a CEO.
Hands off. He told them they never have to go to work again.
Yeah. Well, like, why doesn't he just give
Okay,
it? Is it like
time to come back to the office.
Is it a
Twitter
power
people
trip or what?
I don't know. I think it's a big miss. I think it's a big miss at this time. It doesn't get better than this if you're an online business. It doesn't. Give me another company. Twitter's
to Jack Dorsey's credit, though, at least he's trying to take a stand, unlike Mr. Zuckerberg. At least he's trying something.
I think it's so reactive and only solely to protect his ownership and protect his power. It has nothing to do with any desire to make the world a better place. The one thing I've learned, if you watch The Social Dilemma, okay, the one thing I've learned about tech people, which I always knew anyways, is they have no souls, okay? They just don't care about the results of their experiments. And it's so obvious in The Social Dilemma. All these guys, and they run around with their billions of dollars like they're so cool and such nice people. They're the cigarette barons of our era. They're the Doris Duke of our era. You know, oh, I own the Golden State Warriors. Oh, yeah, you do with your cigarette company. You know, and that's what Facebook is, and all the wealth created by it is at society's expense. And these guys don't care at all. They don't care at all. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So anyways, Jack, you need a haircut and you got to focus on your business because the crappy earnings. What else? Give me another company. It's got to be something more.
Neo that just ripped today. It was up 16%.
Well, no. Chinese stocks have been ripping. Yeah. You got to be long China. You got to be long China. Okay. Look at Tencent. Look at BYD. We talked about BYD at $12. Now it's at 20. We bought in through Lithium, LIT. Okay?
Someone did have a question about lithium. If you want to
what about it? Yeah, let's talk lithium.
They were just asking, what are your thoughts on lit?
Well, lit is what we're buying the hell out of. Okay, I'm just going to be straightforward. I'm buying this stuff. Listen, I'm buying this stuff like crazy. Look, Elon taught me stuff. Okay, when you're lucky as I am that Elon takes you around his little Willy Wonka's palace and he shows you the chocolate factory. See, I've been to the chocolate factory. Okay, dude, he is such a Willy Wonka if I've ever seen one. And Elon, if you're watching, which I know you're not. You are the Willy Wonka of our day, you know. And if you go up to a Tesla event, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I was one of the lucky kids with a golden ticket with full self-driving. So I've seen this a year in advance, and now I've seen the Cell Factory a year in advance. But they made me learn all this stuff, and then I hung out with all the battery guys, and they, the smartest guys I've met in a long time, and they taught me how batteries work and how to build these things and what they're doing. And LIT to me seems like one of the best investments you could possibly make. And then most of these are Chinese, Japanese, and Korean companies. So it's also foreign exposure. So like today I was buying Tencent. I was buying Lithium. I don't own Neo because I wrongly don't own Neo, but I just don't really, I don't know. I don't love them.
Again?
Shopify was out today too.
Shopify was out in the morning. We had Penn Gaming, which I was trying to plow through Penn Gaming, but their numbers.
I got a couple for you, Ross. I got Starbucks.
All right, what do we got for Starbucks? Come on, we're long Starbucks. I've been long Starbucks since I was.
Sales fell 9%.
What was?
Star sales fell 9%.
That might be good.
They said that they lost $1.2 billion in fiscal Q4 sales because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
that would seem normal.
Yeah,
like Starbucks lines, like in the car, are like down the street.
Honestly,
so what's it doing? AAH? What's it doing? Is it up or down?
down. It's down 1.5% roughly.
Yeah, so not much of a reaction yet. We'll have to see.
I actually think Starbucks ends up benefiting greatly from just like I consider Starbucks a tech company that happens to sell coffee. And
Their app is pretty cool.
I think it's a coffee company that's really good at tech.
Their mobile payments, all this kind of stuff, their rewards, they're so good. I actually think this ends up working better for them if you can't get people just sitting in the place for 5 hours at a time using the Wi-Fi to write their screenplays. You get a much more efficient. I know I've been buying a ton of Starbucks coffee.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is the average ticket is up 17%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Well, you probably buy that extra thing because you're not going to walk by 4 times a day and buy like you used to.
Right.
So
let's not forget about China, though.
It's like Zach. Zach, every time he walks by Starbucks, he's got to get a Starbucks.
Oh,
Now maybe it's
we got
2.
Apple.
Oh, Apple. What we've been waiting for.
Apple 0.7.
Ready for Apple. Oh no, I moved on.
$4.
So a slight beat, 73 cents versus 70 estimate. Let's see, sales of 64.7 versus 63.7 let's see. I'm digging for you guys.
Reached an all-time high.
I got Dr. Jean on now. It can't be that bad with the doctor on.
Ooh, how about this? Apple Q4 iPhone sales 26 billion versus 33 billion in the same quarter last year.
That's how
It can't be including this last iPhone launch then. There's no way.
because it launched at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, it's launched.
Launched at the end of the quarter. What do we got after hours? What's it doing?
Down 4% after hours.
4%.
4%.
So
Yeah.
we're a mixed bag today, huh?
Yeah.
We started off strong with Amazon, then it turned on us. Then we got Google, which is still holding up high. Then Activision disappointed. Now we got Apple disappointing.
All right, so let's see, Mac sales. Mac sales were huge. Hatem and I were talking about this before.
It's gotta be.
That's where you can't keep the computer.
I know. Mine has one.
Mac sales over 9 billion versus 6.9 billion last year.
That's a big number, guys.
So Mac was big.
iPad was also big.
Yeah, dude. The
So
iPad in my house is like a war.
Hatem and I talked about this. So Microsoft had their enterprise computer sales were down, and given the fact that Apple is a much more consumer-based company than say Microsoft is, we think that I think that Apple will benefit significantly better for the computer sales. And in this,
Yeah, but these are all valuation selling. It's not everything you're saying is true. And Apple, Amazon, Google, these are companies.
over the last year.
Yeah, it's like you know what it is, and this is what I think is that companies are rallying into their earnings. We've seen this like pattern for now a couple quarters, and then they report numbers that beat because everybody knows they're going to beat, and then it just sells off because the goofballs at Robinhood thought they would beat by like 7,000% instead of like 30. And then they're like, oh, God, I better get out. And they're just killing each other for no reason because it rallied up into earnings.
Wearables for Apple, 7.88 billion versus 6.5 estimates. So wearables are killing it too.
Yeah.
They're firing.
A month ago, Apple was 114. Today it's at 115. It's going to be, let's say, at 110. Move. You know what I mean?
It was up 4% in the market today, a little under 4%. It's down a little over 4% now. So it's doing.
Apple started the year at $73 a share and now trades at over 30 times earnings. And this is a company that's typically traded at 16 times, maybe 18 times during most of the Tim Cook era. I thought that was too low. I think it deserves a 20, 25 PE. But it's a big, mature company. So any way you look at it, these are expensive stocks. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, expensive. Everybody knows that you're no genius. That's for sure.
Services. I'm looking for services. You guys see it? Because they say it.
Service sales was 14.5 billion versus 12.5 in the same quarter last year. So services and also services and Mac revenue were both were all-time highs, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to be doing pretty well. But the iPhone sales miss seems like the issue.
Yeah, but I don't think it's including this latest release.
Yeah, you got the 5G coming out. So, I think this is going to be a much bigger cycle going through.
But a longer cycle, in my opinion. Because I didn't upgrade because I'm literally, Brett, I'm waiting for you to get yours. You have Verizon like I do. If
Well,
you,
I think it's going to be sweet. I think it's going to be sweet.
I'm just waiting. If Brett has 5G coverage in our office, then I'm gonna go out and get mine. But otherwise,
There is T-Mobile 5G coverage here in the office.
I don't know. We're Verizon. I work so.
Well, you Verizon people, I can't vouch for. But I can tell you that I go off our Wi-Fi and just use the T-Mobile, what is it, 5G or whatever they call it.
Speaking of these telecompanies,
3G,
Verizon
7G.
is holding up, and AT&T is pretty much at the yearly low.
Listen, those are the worst companies in the world. They're the worst companies in the world. Verizon and AT&T are literally an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment how badly they're run.
Yeah.
I mean, AT&T, now we're going to sell DirecTV. Who's the genius who thought that was a good idea? We'll buy Time Warner, and we have no idea how to run a media company. We'll buy Yahoo. We'll buy Yahoo. We'll buy AOL. What a great idea. Shut it down. That's all these companies do. They spend all this money and they shut it down.
It would have been the most amazing portfolio of companies in 1998.
I know. Like, they're like, what was big in 98? Let's buy that. Is Net Zero still around? Like Verizon would buy it.
Net Zero.
So right now, it's not boding well for the market tomorrow morning, by the way.
So we got the communications sector with Facebook and Google crushing it. And then we got the tech sector with, Microsoft was down today. Apple down today. But Facebook is now down after hours also.
I think it's all going down now.
Yeah, I think
we're in a sell-off. I think we're in a correction.
It's profit-taking time.
It's just correction-like, and like today, it's like the staircase down. Like today was like the step, and then we got it's like the staircase down. But we did in our meeting today. Any reasonable person during a pandemic cannot justify a 26 or 27 PE. And everybody's like, forward PE. And it was like, and then I think it was you, IL, who was like, we used to talk about, real PE. And I was like, that's true. But during pandemics, you're only allowed to talk about forward PEs,
I heard I think it was somebody, I heard somebody talking about 2023 PEs.
I like that one. When my kid goes to college, PE, it's so cheap.
Someone asked if we.
Okay. Thank God Jimi Hendrix has started.
Someone asked if we manage accounts for Canadians.
Do we manage money for Canadians?
Money for people.
Everybody but Canadians. Those are the people that are the ones.
You love Canadians.
I feel for Canadians right now. You know why? Because this is the time of year they all flee to America, and they can't come. It's like a Canadian nightmare.
They're horrified, man.
How many Canadians have never been in Canada during winter? I think it's like 40%. So don't quote me here, but 40% of Canadians have never experienced winter in their home country. Well, welcome to Canada, boys, because we got Palm Springs all to ourselves. Tim's got it covered. Sorry, I get excited when I hear about Canadians getting stranded at you ever try crossing the border into Canada?
Asking about crypto again.
All right, let's talk about crypto. Are you experienced though? If you're in crypto, you better be experienced.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting time that it's heating up right now. Bitcoin's at a.
It's about time.
I know, but there's so many basically things going for it at this point. But
what's not going for it?
Exactly.
But the only thing not going for it
is that it's not actually useful.
PayPal's a game changer, dude. Think about it. If I can Venmo, PayPal, and if I can Cash App my crypto, it has utility now.
What about the fact that we have no idea what it's actually worth? There's no it can be.
I know what the hell is Apple
one
worth?
day later than the next day. You know what I mean?
We know exactly what crypto is worth. It's worth 13,652 right now.
As of today. And if I transfer you Bitcoin today, by the time it gets to you, it's worth.
I'll take them. If you want to buy things for me in Bitcoin, I'll take it.
We're transacting. Yeah, we know this.
Is it a currency? Is it a
It's a currency.
Security?
It's no differently than the euro or the rimbani or the
the volatility. There's no volatility like that. Even in the currency.
Have you seen the Turkish lira?
Or Zimbabwe?
Turkish lira. Look at it. It's like haven't seen volatility. Bitcoin's been stable as a rock all year. Stable
on Bitcoin.
It's been boring. I literally got bored of Bitcoin earlier this year. Okay, now I'm bullish on Bitcoin. And
all these people come out of the woodworks when this thing starts freaking out.
My friend Brock Pierce is running for president, and we were laughing because he was giving this Bitcoin speech like about the e-dollar and how we have to be competitive with the e-Chinese money and all this kind of stuff, which was actually really true and intelligent. But I was like, if that's your platform for running for president,
well, Ants went public on the
and financial,
not in the U.S. but on
34 billion.
Yeah.
34 billion they raised, 300 billion market cap.
Yeah. On two exchanges. It was too big for one exchange alone. They had to do it on two.
It makes so much money. People are like throwing money. It's like making it rain at AM Financial.
It's
crazy.
Trade war with China.
I love Planet 13. I'm long Planet 13. I'm a buyer. We're buying Cannabis right now on a Biden win. Cannabis is on a huge run if we get the win next week.
Someone was saying
it's a win either way
versus IIPR. I don't think it's an either.
Completely different businesses. Yeah. We own both. IIPR is a real estate company, and they collect rent. And Planet 13 is an extremely large dispensary that's running about almost $100 million of weed a year just in the Las Vegas area. They have cultivation facilities, and they're expanding now. They just raised money. I'm an owner of Planet 13. I'm a buyer of Planet 13. I started buying another company called TerraSen this today, but I'm not going to talk about it because we're not done with it. And we're long IEPR. I'm long Curaleaf.
What we need is some regulations so people can stop dealing in cash.
Well, it's going to be a huge boon for these businesses just to be able to function like a normal company.
Yeah,
right?
It's absurd.
Cannabis companies have been so abused, for no reason at all, and I think it's a big problem. Oh, I got some U2 coming on. You remember U2?
Yeah, it's on everyone's iPhone forever.
That one horrible album that they forced.
It was like the worst album.
Yeah, I know, seriously. But this was my first concert when I was 16. No, I was 15. I went to the Joshua Tree show at U2, and it was like, I'm done. I love music. I'm done. It was really lucky. I got to see Pink Floyd when I was 16 too, and it was like some benefit concert, and I was like, I'm done. I want to be in music. Nobody told me it was a crappy business then.
Would you still be a buyer of Apple under 110?
I mean, look, I'm going to own Apple.
What does Jim say? Hold it.
Yeah, for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
If Apple goes down, you buy it. If it goes up, you hold it. Like
the message is with all those stocks: Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google.
Yeah.
These are the tech.
Well, it's like who are you outsmarting trying to trade these things? Just like that's been our philosophy with these stocks for now, maybe our whole careers, and people are like, what's the secret to your magic? And it's like doing nothing. Like I was tweeting about this the other day about good investing is boring and bad like if you're like trading and you're feeling like hyped up, like you're gambling, you're doing it wrong, dude.
Yeah. That being said,
when I bet on a crappy team.
MGM just came out.
All right, what do we got from MGM?
MGM revenue 1.13 billion versus 3.3 billion a year ago.
Well,
obviously, Vegas is pretty much closed.
But what was estimate?
Slightly down after hours, just $1, so not too bad.
What do you mean, just $1? That's 5%.
That's 4%.
Yeah, just $1.
It was up 5.
I got a couple 100,000 shares. You're like, it's just $1.
It was.
That's 250 grand, dude.
It was just where it was this morning.
Well, yeah, but it was down from the other day.
EPS was 108, negative 108 misses.
Right, that's
101 estimate. So they missed by 7 cents.
Yeah, so
their sales missed by not that much, 1.13 billion versus 1.2.
Yeah, this isn't an easy time to be a casino.
Honestly, though, they could have done a lot worse.
Well, revenue is down 94%.
What?
China revenue is down 94%.
94?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It sounded like a third. If revenue's down a third. But my whole thing with these casinos is it's going to be a long road back. These are cheap, like MGM's a cheap stock. That's why we are buying it.
Someone asked, what's our thoughts on the Las Vegas selling casino?
Oh, that's a big deal.
LVS.
So Adelson's been in Vegas since I was born. Adelson is kind of one of the main old guys like Steve Wynn of Vegas. And the Venetian very much caters to the convention players, but 80% of LVS is in Asia. And so he's now, and I think it's mostly just to maintain the dividend and liquidity. He wants to sell Las Vegas casinos, and he'll have to do it cheap. You know,
What a
like
bad time to be trying to sell casinos right now.
it's really a bad time.
What if Blackstone?
I think Blackstone buys it.
Yeah, they have.
But
But
Blackstone bought those MGM casinos at the high, and they're not going to make that mistake again.
Wow.
That's why
they
MGM's
also
a
have
good buy right now.
cash. Blackstone has so much.
They have
cash,
so
they
much
don't know what to
cash
do
they can
with.
put it to work. But they bought last week. They bought self-storage, and I like the self-storage business right now. And we got to look at. I forgot to bring that up today.
Yeah.
Extra Space Storage is a stock I used to own. When things are bad and people are moving, they put it in storage, and that's what Blackstone just bought. So they just bought all those logistics centers like PLD, which were long, and then now they just bought self-storage, which were not long, but is a very smart investment. But I do see them, if the price is right, buying these casinos. Blackstone owns now a couple of the MGM casinos, and they own one of my favorite casinos, the Cosmo. And so, or hotels more than a casino. So if they pick up the Venetian, they got half the strip, and MGM's got the other half of the strip.
That's a long-term play, though.
It's a power move for sure.
A long-term play. You know, you're not going to get Vegas back till you get a.
Well, Blackstone doesn't care because they don't get paid on cash. So if they can get the right price and the right yield on the assets, they have to deploy it because they can charge fees. Right.
Doesn't lose money either over time.
Blackstone has never lost money over time.
They don't lose money. They know what they're doing. You know,
they're one of the shrewdest players out there. We're long Blackstone. I've actually closed my position in Blackstone mostly. I've sold a lot of my Blackstone because they own a ton of commercial real estate, which I don't want. But I think as a long-term investor, Blackstone is solid.
Here's another long-term.
Also, because Schwartzman's such a Trump supporter, I was like, I'm done with you.
Someone asked if we prefer AMD, Nvidia, or Intel.
Why don't you tell them what we prefer?
Nvidia.
Why?
Y'all should talk about it because he covers it the most. But they are the most innovative company besides Tesla of all time.
I think so.
And video games.
That's my quote, man.
So what happened just now is a younger advisor stole the quote of his older mentor and used it live on our show. And that's okay. That's okay at GK, because as long as somebody looks good at somebody else's event, that's fine. But I have credit. Give him credit. Give him credit.
Crypto heats up again.
I love Brett. You can take everything. Okay.
No. Nvidia is in the three best businesses in the world, right? Video games, right? Data centers, and autonomous driving. Like, hello.
AI.
Which is really data centers or whatever. But like how do they lose here? You know what I mean? Like, and then they bought what's it called from they bought ARM from the SoftBank guy who keeps losing money.
That dude's a
son. You know, I love him because he's such a risk taker. You know,
like this fool's buying call.
He'll gamble $100 billion like it's nothing.
$50 billion in call options.
Oh, dude, he's a dream. He's a dream in your casino.
Yeah.
You know what
$1 million fund like a Vegas casino.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the casinos, like send the jet. You know, it's like in the movie Casino. You know.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, and then you thought he was leaving, and the jet engine didn't work. You know, and we got our $1 million back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Honestly, like, you know, a couple of years ago, I remember having this conversation. A client asked me what do I think are some of the most innovative companies in the world, and the two that I came up with, like Brett said, the two that we all came up with was Nvidia and Tesla, because not just with the businesses that they're in, and they're kind of complementary when you think about that, but the leadership.
Right.
In 2017, I remember it vividly. You watched the CES keynote.
I got a leather jacket just like him, and I wear it once in a while because, like, it's just like you're badass. You know, I mean, it's like
I remember you coming in telling us about the keynote from Jensen Huang, Nvidia.
Oh, when I couldn't sleep that night. That was
$36 a share when you said. And I went home and I watched it, and for 2 straight hours I could not stop watching.
Yeah, we both did, right?
Yeah,
we were up all night, and then the next day we were like,
and we walked out of the stock.
It's a buy, and we made a lot of money on that. Yeah.
That's another thing that, you know, when people are trading stocks and not really investing, you know, one of the things a lot of people miss is, you know, it takes a lot of time to dig into these companies and to dig into management and what they're doing, and the CEOs and the management team are such a huge part of the investment process.
It's the biggest mistake these analysts make constantly is they look at numbers. and they just stare at numbers in their little office in New York, and then they stare more at the numbers, and they don't spend 1 minute getting to know who the person is behind this business. And we spend so much more time on that. And I can't tell you how important it is. I had a meeting with the CEO yesterday of a company and the whole management team, and we had a great talk. And like, I really like the company, but knowing who's behind it gives me a lot more confidence, because our initial investments are in the millions now, and a good investment for us is 10 million plus. And so it's like, we have to be right, so there's no amount of work that's like not enough when you're investing billions of dollars like we do. And so like, that's, I think, the biggest challenge of running a big firm and a big trading operation is your mistakes are now, millions of dollars if you screw up. Like our Funko mistake cost, like $1.5 million. And then it's like, you're right, you can make 100 million on 10 or $20 million investment.
But that's important to do the due diligence, right? Spend the time, do the work. You can't just...
But understand the psychologies of the CEOs, their backgrounds, like what motivates them, what's their incentive, like, why is this person CEO, and what will drive them? One of the things I realized about Elon, for example, is you're not going to meet anybody more competitive and relentless than Elon. And it's like, so as much as he might screw stuff up, like in a way,
Jack in the Box tweets today.
Dude, his Jack in the Box.
Can't stop with Jack in the Box.
First of all, I was like, Elon, enough. I never thought of Jack in the Box this way in my whole life, and he screwed up like my whole thing with Jack in the Box now. And so, like, Elon, you got to stop this stuff. I know you come up with it in the middle of the night because you're up all night, but like for those of us, not that I have ever eaten a Jack in the Box, but now I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I can't look at the same. So, Elon, you've ruined Jack in the Box.
Someone was super excited in here about Starlink.
Starlink is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Elon's doing so many cool things when he could just be retired, living off his 100 billion. And it's like, honestly, he's one of the greatest business inspirations in my life. Like he's caused me to set much higher expectations for our company, for myself. Being at the factories has always just super motivated me, and that's the funnest thing of my job, I think, is like when you're around some of these people and the people involved with these amazing companies and you can feel the vibe. That's another thing analysts aren't good at. They don't understand the vibe. They're not successful people. The truth is, Adam Jonas isn't successful. Okay, no offense, Adam, you're just not successful. Okay, like when you build a business, when you start a company and you actually make real money selling a product or service, then come talk to me, because then you can understand a business. And what's happening is that when I walk in a business, I can tell from the vibe. I can tell from a vibe what's going on. I talk to the low-level employees, the customer service people. That's how I get so much information, because you get the vibe. What's the vibe going on here? Is this company like a bunch of winners killing it, or is it a bunch of high-paid, overpriced talent that isn't doing anything?
Remember when we went to the delivery center, the Tesla delivery center a couple of years ago, when they couldn't get the Model 3s out in time?
Yeah.
We sat there, we were like, what's going on?
And I was ready to help. And then on top of it, I just had a client calling me because he wants to buy a Model S or a Model Y. And now I had several people this weekend. Not only am the sort of unofficial spokesperson for Tesla, but I'm now one of the unofficial salespeople for Tesla. And so, and we were talking about the cars, and then the guy orders the Model S, and he's like, shit, this sucks. It's going to take 6 weeks. And I was like, that's great news. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because they're backed up. That's good. The demand at Tesla is crazy right now. It's crazy good.
We digress, guys. I know this is not a Tesla earning day. So
nobody cares about anything but Tesla. Nobody cares. Okay. Apple, Amazon, Google, Tesla.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, throw them in.
All right, we got 5 minutes.
Amazon,
5 minutes left.
Google, Activision, MGM.
All right, question and answer time. What do you want to know? Tell us your stock. You got 4 of the best investors on the line right now.
Stay away from Hertz.
Hertz. When's the last time you rented a car from Hertz? Yeah. That O.J. Simpson was the spokesperson. The last time I got a Hertz. Okay? Now, if you're Brett's age, it was when he was born, when he was leaping over. You guys remember that OJ commercial? No, you don't.
Speaking of Tesla, what are your thoughts on NIO? We're trying to stick to the stocks that
no, we can talk about NIO. I don't know NIO well enough.
So they might have gotten a contract today with the Chinese municipalities, which is one of the reasons why it was up so much today. And then they also hit a production milestone, they said. So that was the two main
NIO's
reasons.
Performed better than I expected.
I did not expect NIO to do this well either.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was more of a Nikola, so I'm excited.
I thought it was more of a Nikola too.
That they're actually executing.
I'm not sure what their business model is 100%.
It's tough to trust those stocks, man. It's tough to trust those numbers.
Yeah. Listen, is NIO at 31?
Yeah, it's at 30.
Oh, I'm going to screw up.
30.
Oh man, because NIO like emailed me because I said something bad about NIO, and these people like watch, and so like the NIO people emailed me, and they're like, "Oh, you should learn more about NIO," and I was like, "Okay, you're right," and I stopped talking bad about NIO because I needed to do more research, which I didn't do.
Why is
and
Facebook
now it's doubled. Now it's doubled.
Why is Facebook falling? It's because
Facebook is garbage.
They're not falling either. They're up $2 after.
Yeah, and look, they report it well, but
what about Netflix? Long-term buy and hold like Apple?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest challenge with Netflix is the valuation is really high, and so like anytime you get a sell-off in Netflix, that's when you want to look at it. But like we've owned Netflix. When we first bought Netflix, it was like $95 a share. And at the time, and I have a bunch of TV spots where like the analysts were like, "You stupid idiot overpaying for Netflix." And I was like, "No, trust me, they're going to raise prices and people will pay up to $20 a month for this. And they're going to get to 200 million subs." And they were at like 50 or 60 million subs at the time. And, if Facebook's got 2.7 billion people on it, Netflix could easily get to 10% of that. So let's say that's the 300 million subs, So when do they stop growing?
It's just really international.
Yeah, but when do they stop growing?
They're going to have 350 to 400 million subs the next 3 years. There's no doubt. There's 500 million homes worldwide who have broadband. Netflix is going to be in most of them.
And we got a little Steve Ray Vaughan here.
I think
Those who don't know Steve Ray Vaughan, you want to check this out.
Do you think that the FANGs have any actual risk of being broken up?
No.
Oh.
I think the government is so incompetent. Literally,
we need some young
people
in the government.
Right, Google rallied when the government sued them.
Yeah,
it was like good news. It was good news because you can only sue them once. It's like it's like, oh, you end up like Microsoft. You're better off.
What about favorite dividend plays?
My favorite dividend plays right now: Next Era Energy, IIPR, CCI, PLD.
Not Gilead?
Gilead company that doesn't make money because
it's dividend almost, guys.
They're too good at carrying them.
Gilead is the best company and the worst stock.
They should just go government.
Yeah.
just buy them.
They should really buy it. Yeah, it's like 4 times earnings. Like here we are. Oh, it's only 130 times earnings. Here they're curing diseases left and right, and they're 4 times earnings. Yeah. And if you buy Gilead, I almost can guarantee you'll lose money. It's weird. It's like sometimes the market's weird, and these stocks.
He said almost. So it's okay.
Do you like real estate companies like Redfin?
No, but I will tell you the truth.
It's a secret.
What about IPOB?
Oh,
I like IPOB. I'll admit it. It's better than Zillow. It's better than Redfin. I like Zillow and Redfin, but they weren't doing it the way I wanted it to be done. And then, sure enough, Open Door comes around, and they're doing it how I think it should be done. So we're going to take a little bit of IPOB now that it's pulled back. We use an investment trading system for these high flyers. So what happens is I'll buy it personally first, which is almost a guarantee it'll go down. So those of you who are new to trading, if you don't know this, your first purchase, it's almost a guarantee the stock will go down after. So you have to fool the market. And the way you do that is you buy a little, then it goes down, wait a little longer, and then you really buy the position.
I think
because if you just buy it goes down every time.
Here, Hatem, someone asked if CrowdStrike's too expensive here or not.
It's not cheap, that's for sure. But listen, we're going back. We're going in confinement. You need this. This is a theme that's going to last for a long time.
I've been out all day. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Staying from working from
I'm
home.
down all week.
Yeah.
You know, the mask and sunshine. I'm not staying home.
Someone asked about Unity. The reason
45 times sales.
Oh, Unity's been on fire.
Yeah, the problem is it's super expensive.
Yeah, it's
and
like
I would love to pick up Unity around like $40-$50 if that ever.
I
comes
bought it. Like
I picked it up at the IPO. I picked it up at
it was just like a trade, and now it's at 100.
I mean, my video game clients that I have that work on this platform, they love it, and like, there's so many more
Unity's
opportunities
sweet.
outside of video games, whether it's in healthcare or the different platforms. But like, they're trading at an absurd valuation, just like with the rest of the market. But I'm not going to try to get caught in this.
So let's finish up with this thought about valuations. Okay, when you buy a stock, you're looking at its future potential earnings. That's what owning a stock is, and if it's priced in everything good that can possibly happen over the next decade, essentially you're transferring your capital to somebody else who's made now a lot of money. Okay, but what you've done is you have to have a potential outcome that's even better than what's already expected. And if it's really high already, it's going to be disappointing. You know, and it's like kind of marrying the prom queen kind of thing. You know, it is like she's the most desired girl in your high school. She's the prom queen, and you're just some geek, and she likes you, and you like, what could go wrong, right? She's the prom queen, and she likes me, so you marry her right out the gate. How many times does that work out? Zero.
Happily ever after.
So that's what happens when you buy CrowdStrike high or all these stocks high. Your chances of this being a long, loving marriage are so low because the expectations are so high. On the other hand, you find that, you know, a girl who wasn't prom queen, you know, a few ranks down, but she's nice and she cares, and the expectations are more in line with a real life that you can be. And then you overachieve. Then she overachieves. By the time she's 25, she could be amazing, right? And 30, she blossoms, and you're the smartest man in high school. And then you go back to your reunion 25 years later, and they're like, how did you know Cindy was going to turn out to be such a winner? And you're like, you know what? I just knew not to go for the prom queen. Okay? Now, if you're prom queen,
guys.
It works if you're a woman for the quarterback of the football team.
Just imagine the opposite.
I just want to make sure that all
There's prom kings. Life advice. Thank you. Thank you. But listen, you know, I dated a lot of prom queens, and I can tell you, I ended up better off with, you know, the wife that I chose. So what looks shiny and wonderful can oftentimes be disappointing.
You gotta look at different metrics. Like some guy in here said, on the other hand, if you bought Amazon at a 2,000 P 10 years ago, you'd be retired. But that's the wrong metric to be looking at Amazon in the first place.
Right.
So you gotta be looking in the right spot to get the actual story.
Right. So PE ratios aren't necessarily the best way to value a company. It's one way. And it's one of the many ways we'll look at a company, because, like, for example, a Tesla is a perfect example. Or Netflix isn't maximizing for earnings. They're maximizing for revenue growth. And so you have to look at multiple metrics with Amazon. So Amazon as a multiple of revenue is actually not that expensive compared to a multiple of earnings. And so you have to look at both, I think. But this is kind of, we're getting to the end of the show here. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something. It looks like we're going to end up being net losers tomorrow, and that's okay because we're long-term investors and we've got capital put to work. So we're on the downs. So be careful, investors. You're going to have some opportunities. We think the market's 10% overvalued. If we get a 10% correction in here over the next couple months, we'll be in buying. We're playing it real safe right now, so you should be too. Remember, always have capital on the side to take advantages of corrections, but we're clearly in a market that is taking good news and turning it bad, and we've got an election next week, so please play it safe, everybody.
And if you guys want to learn more about the election and what kind of happens in markets, me and one of the other partners put out a podcast yesterday.
Where's the podcast?
It's on Spotify and on Apple, so just search Gerber Kawasaki podcast. It's one that says Get Invested, which is a program that I run here. So if you guys have questions, email us directly. It's just our first name at GerberKawasaki.com, or follow us on socials. We're all on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. So
we're everywhere.
A lot of content.
And we're here to help you. We're here to help you manage your money. We're here to help you give you information to make you a better investor. You can find all of our information everywhere on the news almost every day. And there's a reason for that. Is because we're out here every day trying to help our clients make money. Come join our family. We're happy to help you. Thank you for joining us on the Big Earnings Show. We'll be back next earnings season. And hopefully we'll all still be alive and well by then. So please wear a mask. I'm going to go put mine on and go back to the other side of the office here and leave the quarantine area here with Brett, who's been heavily tested, I'm sure. But thank you all for joining the show, and may your profits be with you.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Go vote.